off, don't worry about that. Just trust it that it's going to just speed up a bit, and then you can always pull them back down. So yeah, that's a great aha moment that you had to kind of experience for yourself. Kind of the same thing we're talking about, actually. Now you see that the light comes on, you're like, oh my God, yeah, they're just taking off. Maybe I've been holding this horse back a little bit.
Yeah, I still don't know quite what to do about it as far as his turn, because he gets in front of me, and then I feel like I'm running to catch up.
Yeah,
he's just about to pass me, and then he did.
And that's kind of the nature of turning them on their hinds like this, is that, yeah, you have to, just like you're doing, you're staying in front, you have to move a lot faster because you're on the outside of that arc, on the outside of the circle, instead of being on the inside. Because he's having to, when you're turning him on his fours and that hind end is moving around, you're kind of standing in the middle of him and he's working that hind end around you. And so when you're on the front like that, yeah, you have to walk a lot faster to stay ahead of him, to get him to keep from, or to get him to move away from you and you around him. So that's kind of the nature of that too. So like when you're turning right there, if you're going to try to get him to turn on his hinds, then you're going to need to get, way out in front of him. Now walk towards his shoulder and towards his head. There you go. Yep, that's it. And it just feels like you're moving too fast and too hard to have to put that much effort in, but that's the way it is.
Okay.
It's just the physics of being on the inside of a turn or on the outside of a turn for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like you're having to put way more effort into this than to get him to do what you want, but it's just normal.
A little human legs can't keep up with you, buddy.
There you go. Very good.
It's harder this way.
It is a little harder. He's a little stickier there, isn't he?
Yep. I can get 2 really good steps in, and then all of a sudden he's past me.
Well, and part of that is even though he's not as comfortable with you over there, he's a little more sensitive on that side. And so he tends to move a little easier, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Good boy.
There, that's better.
And so maybe I just take it 1 or 2 steps at a time and then try to throw in an extra one.
That's exactly right. And it just slows him up. There you go. Yeah. And try not to let him go forward like that. Kind of, he's trying to step kind of around you a little bit. Yeah. There you go. And it's there. That's better. That's better. And what you're going to do is you're just going to desensitize that side a little bit and get him more comfortable without him having that kind of that more of a flight response. It's not really a flight response. It's just that he's more sensitive to moving away from you. And see, what he's doing is he's getting in front of you, that shoulder, so that he doesn't have to move quite as fast either. He's figured that out, that, hey, if I get her back behind me, we're not going to move at all.
So my guess is that practicing backing him up on this side is going to help us a lot.
It can. And this is one of those times where if you need to, just like you're doing, you kind of reach up, grabbing that halter a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. There's an application for that physical control until you can get the mental control, and then you can take the physical away. And because it's such a low stakes failure here, it's not a big deal.
Okay.
And now I'm telling you opposite of what we talked about earlier, right? But it's all in the context and the application of what you're doing.
Yeah, I understand. Here he's not necessarily blowing through me or being reactive. He's just pushing just a little.
Yeah, that's right. And what you can do if it was me standing there is I would put the halter on him and move him around you without putting any pressure on the halter rope. And when he starts to move away from you, then pull him back, physically just give him a sharp whoa with it, and then have him comply with you, and then you start over again.
Okay.
And this is really good stuff, actually. I mean, this is the part where the training is, from a third-party view, looks really, really boring. But this is super important because you're trying to keep him from pushing you. Okay, so don't put any pressure on the halter or on the lead. Just do what you were going to do. Walk around like you were getting him to do before. There you go. And if he starts to take off, then stop him. There you go. Very good. Much better. There you go. Good job. You feel that? All of a sudden, you don't have to use near as much of the halter control to get him to comply.
Yeah, I'm using less and less in each step.
Yes, exactly right. That's exactly what I want you to do. So that now you're getting more of the mental control, and you may have to have a little more repetition on this side to do that. But look how now his body is not moving away from you. It's his head that's moving away from you, and that's what you want to have happen. Very good.
Good boy. Good boy. Yeah, I feel, I guess one of my minor frustrations is that I haven't been able to work with him as not often lately as I want to. And so we have kind of seen some of those holes, but on the same note, I feel a little bit better that has happened because, like you say, I do see the holes, I see exactly where I need to go back. And so even though we're not going as fast as we want to go, it's really clear to me what I need to fine tune. And
yeah.
I feel like it's going to push us forward a lot faster and a lot easier in the future.
Yeah, and that's it. You're spot on, because it's not that you're not being able to evaluate him when you can't work with him. It's an opportunity really to find where there's an issue that you need to work on. And so always look for that positive part of what we've got here. Why are we struggling here? Oh, this is why, so I need to fix that. And this is just an intensive part of that with the training. This is not something that ever goes away, because those horses at some point are all going to, try to be a little bit more dominant or get away with what they can, or be a little pushy, because it's just their nature and their herd dynamic to do that, because they get more benefits. They get to make decisions. So yeah, never feel bad about going backwards on something or not having quite the response that you wanted, because now it's an opportunity to work on them and make them better. Oftentimes those horses that are really difficult on the ground, that take a lot longer to work in the groundwork, and you go, oh my God, I don't know if this horse is going to amount to anything, or it's just, this is really bad. They just don't seem to learn. And then once they get over that, those are the horses, when you get on their back, half of the training is done. You all you're doing then is just getting some experience to them and teaching them to rein and stop, turn, do some of the rope work like we do, if that's what you do, and some trail work, because all of the really hard stuff at that point, you're going beyond what other horses do because you had to.
That makes sense. Good boy.
There you go.
Good boy. So how do you anticipate that his minor pushiness is going to translate into other aspects of our training, like when I start riding him? Do you think he'll revert back to that and try again in the saddle? Or what are the different things that I can expect?
Yes, and that's one of those, it's kind of a law, to me, I call it, like one of your laws of horsemanship, that they are always going to try to vie for a little bit of control, always. And so all of the stuff that you're doing with them on the ground is a precursor to getting on them, on their back and doing the same things, but they will act like at times like, oh, I've never done this before. I have no idea what you're asking. So there's always that law of they will continue to push and continue to try to get away with what they can, always. So that's why it's so important that you don't allow them to do that. And when they do make a breakthrough like that, you have to do it not just once, but then repetitively. And you have to be much, much more aware of the very small things that they're doing to try to push you, like taking a step in the wrong direction. A single step can mean a lot, because they know what they're doing. And if you look around you, all of these other horses are probably just standing there, right? They're not putting out any energy to do anything. That's not purposeful.
Mm-hmm.
So when they're expending energy, and that is moving a foot for a purpose of theirs, it isn't just because it happens to do it because the world tilted and they're catching their balance a little bit. It's purposeful for them. If they're putting energy into doing something, it's for their benefit.
Okay.
So you always have to be much, much more aware of what this horse is doing and what the mental thought behind it is. And that's your higher level of horsemanship, where you're thinking and evaluating the entire time you're with him. And it's work. It's mental work on your part.
Boy. Oh, well, I feel like as far as going through the paces, I feel pretty good about it. And I know I need to work more on turning him, but he's doing a lot better with me running up to him, especially on his offside. He's stopping really well. He's turning pretty darn well. I feel like he's at probably 90% with that.
Good. Did you struggle with your sessions this week a little bit early on?
With him not turning, or with him taking a couple extra steps, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And now all you're doing is just validating what I just talked about. And then if you stop that or get the behavior you want as quickly as possible, and when they try it again, stop it immediately and correct them. Pretty soon they're going to go, you know what? I just put energy into something I'm getting nowhere with. And so there's any reason to even do that. That's creating those training boundaries.
Boy.
So I'm gonna just say, let's have you kind of work with him. And I know you're like